All right, man. What's going on? What's going on? What's going on with y'all, man? This your boy right now, your boy Rez Joe. This on here chilling right now. This Rez Joe boxing, and we're gonna talk a little boxing right now, man. I was supposed to make this video not too long ago. I was actually gonna make this video right after Mother's Day, but I have had to spend time with my wife and my family, my mother and my grandmother and my sisters, and celebrate them. And I ran across this video. I think I ran across him saying this way before Mother's Day though. So I ran across him saying this way before Mother's Day. And I ended up, before I even made the video, I ended up actually going on Best Fight the Best channel with BF and the brothers on there, and ended up getting in a huge debate with my guy Tony on there. I just call him Tony Boxing, but you could go on Best Fight the Best channel and you could always check him out. I mean, check out all those guys on there. Those guys pretty much, they know boxing and they know what they talking about. But I heard him on there talking about this no running rule. And I'm like, wait a minute, Showbizz said something about this no running rule too, and I was about to make a video about it, thinking that Showbizz was the one that came up with this no running rule. Well, come to find out, Showbizz didn't make this no running rule up. He actually got this from someone else. Someone else already came up with this rule, and it was actually Tony. And I already had the discussion with Tony of why I disagree with the rule. And pretty much, he haven't really worked the rule out yet. So he's basically going to demonstrate how can you reenact the rule in a ring. He's going to play the referee or whatever. So he haven't worked the rule out yet. So, and it seems so, but at least he presented the rule. At least he presented why, the rule should happen, and he presented what the rule is, and he was pretty much giving us different scenarios about the rule. So we're gonna check out Showbizz and see if what he's saying and what Tony is saying is the same. Now, me personally, I already pretty much looked at this video, a little bit of it, and it seems like he maybe seen Tony video or seen Tony and them talking about it, but he only heard like Tony talk about it halfway, and he only heard one example that Tony brought up, and he basically took it and then he basically went on there. And this is just me appealing to motivation, which is a fallacy, but I'm based off the evidence of one guy said it years before you. And then all of a sudden you hear the guy and you're saying the exact words of the guy without the understanding of why the guy is saying what he's saying. You just basically copying what the guy is saying. Then you wrote it. And then now you're trying to make a claim like you came up with this and trying to make like a claim. We're gonna get to that, right? Because that's like the part where I left off at. So that's what inspired me to go back and, do a little research and make the video. So let's go ahead. We're going to get right into it, man. We're going to check out what Showbizz have to say. And I'm going to give you guys my personal opinion. And I'm going to lay it out for Showbizz. And Charlie, this is going to be a very teachable moment for him. I hope he look at the video, and I hope he understand what I'm about to say to him. And I hope he learned something today. So let's go ahead. I'm gonna press play and let's check it out, man.
There's that left.
Okay, here's the rule. We're gonna start it off right here. Okay, before I'm gonna make any comment about it, I'm gonna go ahead and let him speak. But here's the rule, and I want y'all to notice something. This is supposed to be the rule, which means that he's supposed to be giving you the criteria of the rule, because that's what a rule is. A rule has certain criteria, and the rule has to support the fundamentals of the game or the fundamentals of the fight or whatever. You know, boxing is a sport. Sports have fundamentals, which means sports have certain things that you're supposed to do. Certain fundamentals in the sport you're supposed to do. Fundamentals as in basketball, the fundamentals of basketball, you have to bounce the ball. And in order to score a basket, you must shoot the ball into the basket. They score maybe 2 points, 3 points. It depends on what area you at on the court. Now, depends on what area you at on the court to score. Those are the fundamentals of the game. Now, those fundamentals of that game have certain rules in order to make the game actually fair. Instead of you running with the ball, you have to bounce the ball, which gives the defender more chance to take the ball away from you while you bouncing it. But the defender cannot use excessive force as hitting you physically, because this is not football. This is not the fundamentals of football. This is the fundamentals of basketball. All focus is on the ball and the person that carries the ball. Excuse me. Right? So those are different fundamentals than another game, which is football. Right? That's why basketball and football is different. But it's the same far as fundamentals. Now, any rule that you come up with in basketball, the reason why you're coming up with the rule is you don't want one player or a team or whatever to have, or the idea of it is this, to have the advantage of the defensive player. You don't want the offensive player to have the advantage over the defensive player. You don't want the defensive player to have the advantage over the offensive player, right? And also they have other reasons for the rule. Basically, if they want to speed the game up, or they don't want, they want it to be entertaining for the crowd. That could be other reasons, but you can't even use those as reasons if it's breaking the fundamentals of the game, which means that you can't come up with a rule and say, well, you don't have to bounce the ball at all no more. You can just run around with the ball, because people don't like you bouncing the ball between your legs and doing crossovers. So you no longer have to bounce the ball anymore. Or they can't come up with a rule and say, oh, well, now the defensive player could tackle you. Football they tackle, so we allowing people to tackle you now. Right? No, that's breaking the fundamentals of the game. You're changing the game into something else. You're no longer playing the basic basketball that all of the players grew up playing. You're changing the rules of the game, right? So each rule that you come up with have to support the fundamentals of the game. Period. It have to support it, and it cannot give a certain person an advantage over the other, right? It can't give the defensive player the advantage of the other, right? So it had to be even, and that's what the officials is for, because the officials know every player on the game isn't equal, right? But every chance and opportunity of the game should be equal. And if you and based on the fundamentals of the game, right? If anybody is contradicting the fundamental of the game by doing something that is against the fundamental of the game, then therefore the referee have the rules in place to make sure that everybody playing alongside the fundamentals of the game, which is the rules of the game. The rules are supporting the fundamentals of the game. It's not the game supporting the rule. The rules support the game. The game don't support the rules. It's that simple. So in that, we could transfer this over to boxing, and we could go ahead and give you a brief example of what boxing is. Boxing, or at least what boxing is now, it's no longer the 1920s or the late 1800s or whatever, where they was wrestling and all of that. But what boxing is now is basically hit and do not get hit. That is the certain science of boxing. You score points. You score points when you hit your opponent in certain areas, right? The judges get to judge based upon their criteria that is given to them by the officials of how accurate you hit your opponent, how badly that you beat your opponent, and how convincing that you hit your opponent. It's other criteria as well. I mean, they have a whole set of criteria of what they judge every time, in a boxing match, right? But the name of the game is hit, do not get hit, right? Now they have rules that are set in place. You can't hit below the belt, can't hit behind the head, can't elbows, can't kick people, can't use excessive clinching like what he's about to talk about right now, which is grappling, or lightweight or small grappling. You can't do anything that break the fundamentals of hit and do not get hit with the gloves with your hands, right? And you have to hit in these certain areas. Now, any rule that is put in place, long as they don't put a rule in place that contradicts the fundamental of that game, which is boxing, or the sport of boxing, then there's no foul. Now, anything that contradicts the fundamentals of the game, then there's rules that's already put in place for that, right? Now, one of the things in boxing, right, some of the fundamentals in boxing is offense and defense. Now, when you are playing offense, just like if you're playing basketball, if you holding the ball, right, and you're playing offense is to get past the defender while bouncing the ball, right, while bouncing the ball and shooting a shot, taking a layup, or however you want to do it, based on whatever strategy you're going to come up with to get past the defender, right? That's on you. You can do whatever you want to do, long as you're not contradicting the fundamentals of the game, right? Now, the defender in basketball, and I know basketball is not the same as boxing. Now, the defender in basketball had to figure out, right, had to somehow block the path away from the offense, block the path or get in the way of the path of the offender without fouling him. He had to figure out how to get the ball away from him or figure out a way to get him to miss the basket, right? Now, however, and whatever strategy he's going to use, he's going to use the spaces on the court. Either he's going to cut the court off. Either he's going to get a double team him somehow. Or he's going to block shots. However he's going to do it, long as he's not fouling him and breaking the fundamental of the game, he's okay, right? Boxing is the same. The offender must hit and not get hit, right? Which means he must be able to out-punch or outscore, right? And convince the judges that he is beating his opponent, harder, beating his opponent, better, and outscoring him better than his opponent is hitting him, right? That's him fighting his opponent offensively, right? Either he's going to try to get a knockout, or he's going to basically outpoint him by basically constantly hitting his opponent with great accuracy in a higher volume than his opponent. Or even if he's not hitting his opponent in a higher volume, which in most cases he would win, even if he's not doing that, he's hitting his opponent with harder shots and convincing the judges that his shots is more accurate and his shots is bringing more power and causing more damage than what his opponent is doing to him, right? If his opponent is just pity pattern and just basically he's not really punching or he's just touching him and it's not really causing any severe damage to him, but I'm causing severe damage to my opponent, of course the judges is going to go, oh well, he hit his opponent with the more significant shots. That would be offensive boxing, right? Then you have defensive boxing, which is you invading your opponent's shots. Either you weaving, or either you're using your head and weaving away from the shot, either you blocking the shots, either you catching the shots, or even if you want to say countering the shots, which counter shots is basically, you could say that's offensive. Or if your opponent is trying to go for your body, trying to hit your body, you're moving away. And you're moving away in angles. Or you're utilizing the ring. Now, we're going to get into that a little bit later on. But this is defense. And even in, now, offense and defense, just like basketball, just like football, just like any other sport, whenever you're playing either one of these, whenever you in this situation, you in the game, you are engaging in the game. If you're on defense, you are engaging in that game. You're just not on offense. If you're on offense, you are engaging in that game. You're just not on defense. If you're attacking, the guy's, his responsibility, your opponent's responsibility is to defend himself. You're supposed to protect yourself at all times. They say it in the beginning of the fight. One of the mechanisms of protecting yourself is moving. I'm sorry, Canelo. Sorry, Showbizz. Sorry, Tony. One of the things you have to learn how to do when you're defending yourself in a ring is move. Sorry. That is also part of defense, and that is also engaging in the fight. Whether you like it or not. You can sit up here and say, oh, well, your engagement is just offense. No, it's not. You also engaging in the fight on defense. Why? Because you are in the game. As long as you're in the game and you're following the fundamentals of the fight, you are participating in the fight. That's engaging. Sorry. I'm sorry. So, now that we know what is the fundamentals of boxing, which is offense and defense, and I explained everything in offense, and I explained everything in defense, which defense is movement, head movement, or moving your entire body, or cutting, or pretty much moving at an angle, right? We could get into that later. Or blocking, right? I mean, those really like the only two of the basic fundamentals. But you got other nuances as well, right? You got other nuances as well, and you have other strategies as well. Now that we got past that, and we know offense and defense, and even when you on defense, you are also engaging in the fight because you in the ring, right? So now that we got past that, now let's get past that. Let me just say one more thing with this, right? If a fighter, just like other sports, if you coming in, if you and your team are going into a fight, you're going to have a strategy. Now, no matter what that strategy is, you're going to have this strategy. Now, your strategy is going to be based on the opponent that you're fighting. And it's going to be based on a fight that you want to fight, right? Now, if your strategy is you want to be an outboxer and you basically want to stay outside, you want to keep your opponent thinking, that's on you. If your strategy is you want to be a pressure fighter and you want to basically, force the pressure or force your fighter into certain positions in the corner or whatever you want to do, that's also on you. You want to be a power punch, whatever you want to do. All of those type of fighters have certain strategies that they use, and that strategy, you executing that strategy. That all comes from your boxing IQ and your corner boxing IQ. If your corner don't have the boxing IQ to adjust in a ring, right, or to adjust your strategy in the ring, if it's not working, then you're gonna suffer a loss. You're gonna either suffer a loss, or you better hope that the opponent that you're fighting have a lower IQ than you, right? If you're the outside fighter, you're supposed to fight from the outside. You're supposed to utilize the entire ring. If you're fighting the outside fighter, your job is to cut off the ring. Why? Because you're trying to put the outside fighter in a situation that he's not comfortable with. The outside fighter want to utilize the entire ring. You want to cut off the ring. Why? Because you want to force him into You want to force him, right, into engagement where the terms is in your favor. Because you may be the power puncher. Maybe the reason why the outside fighter is an outside fighter because he don't have as much power as you. He can't bang with you in the kitchen. So your job is to basically get him to bang with you in the kitchen. Or maybe the outside fighter just don't look good doing it. Maybe he can bang with you. But maybe he's a taller guy, and most taller guys really don't look good banging on the inside. Even if they actually good at it. Maybe judges just be like, hey, but you know what? Judges don't like that. Because he got so much long arms, and maybe it's easier for him to get hit to the body. Who knows? So maybe he's boxing on the outside because he looked better. We don't know. But the point of the matter is that's not your problem to know that. The only thing that you should be worried about is getting him in a situation that he don't want to be in and putting yourself in a more favorable position. And it's vice versa for him. Now, if both opponents know this, right? Now, instead of you having a firefight, you have a chess match. And if you have two boxers with high IQs, most of those fights are going to be chess matches. They're not going to be fire fests. They're not going to be Mike Tyson knockouts. It's not going to be Thomas Hearns and it's not going to be Thomas Hearns and Marvelous Hagler. It's not going to be that. It's not going to be Mickey Ward and Gotti. It's not going to be that. It's not going to be none of that type of stuff. Because you got two boxers in there with high IQs. You don't got two dummies in there that just throwing punches at each other. Just throwing punches, just meeting in the middle of the ring and just going boom, 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 going full blast on each other. You're not going to have that. You're not going to have that. That's not even boxing. That's not even boxing. If you have guys that usually don't get hit and you put them both in the ring, they're going to do everything that they can to keep that up. And what you're going to have is a chess match. A lot of that in the chess match is going to be, hey, can this fighter cut the ring off? Can this fighter utilize the entire ring? What did this fighter have to do to cut the ring off? Well, he's going to have to cut the 90-degree angle in half. What is he cutting the 90-degree angle in half? Well, he have to cut it into a 45-degree angle to keep the fighter on one line of the L that he's on, which is the wall, which is the back of the ropes, and keep him to two corners. To keep him at a triangle in the corner, cutting it into a 45-degree angle instead of a 90-degree angle where he have a way out into the other L. Remember, it's you in a square ring. The ring is a square, two 90-degree angles. You have one L and two L's. You had two L's. One L on this side, the other L is behind you. If he could get behind you, that means he escaped the 90-degree. That means he used the 90-degree angle to escape. If he just keep on escaping, he's winning. He's winning in every engagement, which means most of the time he's popping a jab at you. He's crossing you. He's getting in an engagement with you, and he's escaping every time. And if he's doing that multiple times, it is up to the opponent to stop him from doing that, or to stop him, period. Right? Just maybe the reason why he's doing that is because you have the ability to stop him. But that is not up. But it's called it's called teaching him a boxing lesson. I mean, that's literally what it's called. But listen, the boxer, the outside fighter that is doing that is not him running. That's not called running. That's not what that's called. It's called boxing. It's called being an outside fighter. He's at an angle. He's utilizing the entire ring. He's using both 90-degree angles to put him to attack in angles. That's what he's doing. And he's stopping his fighter. He's stopping his opponent for cutting the ring off. He's just trying to keep himself out of the favorable position for his opponent. Because his favorable position is the utilizing the both of the 90-degree angles. Get it? The pressure fighter needs the 45-degree angle to trap his opponent in the corner or trap his opponent to two corners. The boxer needs the two L's, the two 90-degree angles to utilize the whole ring. He needs all four corners to fight in. Get it? Now, this is not for Tony, and this is not for Tony or nobody in BF Boxing channel, because all of these guys pretty much understood this. So what Tony is saying and what Showbizz is saying, I don't think they're saying the same thing, but we about to check it out. But that's about the gist of it. So you guys got my argument. I think I laid it out real quick, as fast as I can, but let's just check out the video. Okay.
A no running rule. Okay, listen, War Room, if you don't know,
Hold up for a second. Hold up. I gotta do something. Yeah, because that thing keep on dinging.
I'm all over socials.
Okay, so we can read it now. No running rule. Similar to excessive clinching, the no running rule will prevent excessive avoidance of engagement by giving the referee the option to deduct a point from a fighter who choose excessive movement over engagement. This is the referee discretion. Okay, so that's not even okay. It's one problem. It's a major problem with this. First off, what is the no running rule? He's not explaining what the no running rule is. He's not giving you the criteria of the no running rule. He's not saying no running rule. Do not do this. Do not do this. Do not do this. And do not do this. Do it say any of that in this? No, it just say no running rule, and it say similar to excessive clinching. Okay, you just talking about excessive clinching, and you're not explaining what excessive clinching is. Then it say the no running rule will prevent excessive avoidance of engagement by giving the referee the option to deduct a point from a fighter who choose excessive movement over engagement. First off, that's very vague. Second of all, you still not giving them what the rule is. You just said similar to excessive clinching. Okay, what is the rule? Then you say the no running rule will prevent. You just saying what it will prevent. That's not telling us what the rule is. And then you're saying it will prevent something that is vague. And then whether or not they choose an excessive movement over engagement, that's not for the referee to determine. That's for the boxers to determine. And then I already told you what the fundamentals of boxing is. So there's plenty of situations of why you would use excessive movement over engagement, which you already engage in if you're using defense. So I don't understand what's the excessive movement. You just coming up with a term and just putting the word excessive to it and just saying, oh, it's excessive. You just coming up with that term and just, what do that mean? That's a very vague term. And you say, oh, well, how about we just get rid of the excessive word, because we don't even know what that means, what you mean by that, because that's very vague, and just say movement. And just say at a point, just say he has an option to deduct a point from a fighter who choose, and let's get rid of the excessive word because you ain't explained what that mean, who choose movement over engagement. Now see, that's what you really should be saying, because we know what movement mean. Movement mean moving away from a fighter, using defense, who choose defense over offense. That's basically what you need to say, because I don't know what do you mean by engagement? Engaging mean that he should throw punches, right? He should basically attack, right? Well, that would be offense. So we need to know what excessive mean, right? We know what movement mean. We know movement is part of defense. It's part of boxing. It's part. I mean, you could even say movement is part of offense as well. So what movement? What movement is we talking about? It's movement, far as moving your head, getting away from the. I mean, that's still defense. Putting yourself in position to cut the ring off. What is it? Putting yourself in position that had to measure the shot, and I mean moving in with the jab. What movement we talking about? We know movement is in offense. You can make the argument for offense, and you can make an argument for defense. And we know engagement, you're already engaging because you in the ring. And if you in the ring, you're doing either one or the other. You either on offense or you on defense, or you in a mix, or you doing a mixture of the two. So you're automatically engaging. So what do that mean? Now, the only thing that I can guess that you mean when you say engagement is basically being on offense. And the only thing that I can guess when you say movement is you being on defense, on the back foot. So you basically saying deduct a point from a fighter who choose, you can't say excessive, who choose defense over offense. I mean, we got to put that there because that's the only thing that you can really mean when you saying what you're saying. This is to the referee discretion. So the referee can choose when a fighter can use defense and when the fighter should use offense.
Trying to implement.
I'm trying not to make this so long.
A no running rule to be added to the official rules.
It's probably gonna be a 2-part video.
All right. So this video is to explain that and why. But first, I want to say this: Happy Mother's Day to all of you beautiful mothers out there. Happy Mother's Day to my
he made
mother,
this video on Mother's Day.
To Ms. Biz, to my ex.
Okay, calm down.
And he won the fight, but we see judges or up to the officiating at that point to say why the cut was made, and it was
let's
actually
get to
due to
the thing.
Now I introduced this to my social. Their rematch. Now let's
go
talk
to it.
about the no running rule. Right?
No running rule.
I introduced this to my.
Okay, so he don't got nothing different. This is the only post that he had. This is a post I seen too. So this is the only post that he had. Now check this out. Now let's just be real. Showbizz have a fan base. I mean, believe it or not, he have a fan base. He have at least 100,000 people looking at his stuff, right? So him saying that 3,000 people voted for this, as if somebody's like checking for him. These are just your fans, bro. This is not like this is not like regular people. This stumbled across your thing and just said, oh, you know what, I'm gonna vote for. No, it's just these is your fans, bro. These are the people that these are the people that just listening to what you're saying and they just agreeing with you. So I mean, these wouldn't be fans and they wouldn't be looking at your channel if they didn't agree with you. So you basically saying like, oh well, you know what, I got 3,000 people and most of them said that they agree with me. Yeah, like. Okay, you got 100,000 people. Most of them agree with you too. What does that mean? So what? They like your videos. That don't mean anything. It's not. If you're basically saying, well, a lot of people agree with me, so therefore what I'm saying is correct. You just, listen. That's it. That's all. That's all you have. Because if that's all you have, then that's just appeal to majority. That's a fallacy. Hate to keep throwing these stuff out, but these guys with their logic, you got to put it out there. I just appeal to the majority. That's a fallacy. You know what I'm saying? You should basically base your points on on validated evidence. I mean, you have to say something that is valid. Your stuff should be judged on its merits, not judged on your fans. He basically, all my fans agree with me, so you guys should change the rules. Like what? So this is just a silly point.
To X, to Instagram, to YouTube here, the War Room, All of you guys, many of you voted. I have thousands of votes.
Yeah, these is his fans.
All platforms, most of you, in approval of this rule being implemented.
Yeah, these is his fans, and he's only talking to his fans, so this is stupid. Like, these is his fans.
Implemented to the official rules of boxing. Now, here's the rule. The rule.
I mean, these is his fans, bro. And then he keeps saying, "Here's the rule." Like he wrote something new. He didn't. There is no rule. And then this video is a this video right here is a what they call that? What do they call that? Like clickbait. This video is clickbait because he's not explaining no rules. He's just explaining what the rules is, what he want the rule to do, and what he don't like.
Rule is the no running rule. So this is how I describe it. Similar.
And he's talking about. He's saying he described. I just showed y'all right that he didn't describe any rules. The only thing he described is what the rule is supposed to stop. And it's basically what he want the rule to stop is something that he don't like. He don't like guys using defense. He rather guys just go in there and punch each other. It's just what he don't like. Listen to the nonsense. He just basically said we want to prevent excessive avoidance. He just putting the word excessive to everything. He said we just want to prevent excessive avoidance. Avoidance. Yeah, you're supposed to avoid punches. Defense. So we go only, like I said, this again, based on what we're reading, similar to excessive clinching, right? Which is not similar to the excessive clinching. The no running rule will prevent excessive avoidance. Again, we don't know what this excessive stuff mean. I guess he's trying to say doing it too much. You can't never not get hit too much. You can never not avoid. You can never not avoid punches too much. I don't know what. So as too much avoiding punches, too much avoiding of engagement. So I guess he's trying to say too much prevent excessive avoidance of engagement. So I guess engagement is offense. So he's saying you avoiding offense by giving the referee the option to deduct a point from a fighter who choose excessive movement. He go with this excessive movement again over engagement. Now this up here just lets you know it's just basically excessive. He's calling it avoiding offense, pretty much. That's what he's saying. So basically you're choosing, right? Because he's saying this is a choice. He's saying you're choosing moving away, which is defense, over offense. I mean, I already explained that, but there's nothing else to even say about it, bro. I mean, it's not rocket science, man.
To excessive clinching, that is very key. The no running rule will prevent excessive avoidance of engagement by giving the referee the option to deduct a point from a fighter who chooses excessive movement over engagement. This is the referee's discretion.
Okay, y'all. So is he about to? So we read this already. So he did not give us any criteria of what the rule is, how the rule will be implemented, how the rule will. He just basically saying this is what is supposed to stop, and this is based on his personal opinion. I mean, I guess Showbizz don't like defense. He don't like defensive fighters. He don't like, any fighter that use defense, because he said he rather you use offense. He rather you engage in a fight, because he want more fights like Gotti Ward, where they was barely using any defense because they didn't have the IQ to use that type of defense. You seen what Gotti got in the ring with Mayweather? What happened? He got the shit beat out of him. Why? Because Gotti don't have a sense of any defense whatsoever. I hate to say that. That's why he lost that fight. He lost that fight because he was clearly outclassed. He was clearly outclassed by Mayweather. Mayweather had more of a boxing IQ, more of boxing skills, more of boxing talent than freaking Mickey Ward. Now he jump in there with Mickey Ward, somebody that's just gonna come forward and then bang with you, and then Gotti want to go in there and meet him instead of him using his boxing knowledge to avoid punches. Then yeah, you're gonna have a great, fantastic fight. You're gonna have 1,000 punches being thrown around because them guys ain't doing nothing but standing in the middle of the ring punching the shit out of each other. That's not boxing. I mean, but it is boxing in a sense when you looking at two boxers with a pretty low IQ, at least compared to people like Mayweather, Devin Haney, Shakur Stevenson, Terrence Crawford, Errol Spence. I mean, even Errol Spence is not going in the freaking ring and not going in the freaking ring and letting people beat on him, standing in the middle of the ring and letting people punch him. And Errol Spence is in most of his fights, he's the power puncher. Even he's not doing that. What Errol Spence is doing, he's using his jab, he's cutting off the ring, he's not allowing you to, he's getting in engagements with you. And guess what else he's doing? Using defense. I mean, what is Errol Spence also is gonna get called for using defense over over engaging? And if you're trying to get the referees to penalize defense, what are you doing in the fundamentals of boxing? Contradicting the fundamentals of boxing. One of the fundamentals of boxing is movement. One of the fundamentals of boxing is defense. One of the fundamentals of boxing is choosing between engaging and not engaging. It's hit and don't get hit. Not, oh, well, if I can avoid to not get hit, but the referees are going to make this call against me, so I'm going to go ahead and take this punch.
And I added His Excellency Turki Al-Sheikh. 66% of you voted that it is a great rule. That's out of 3,764 votes. And views, this got over 200,000 views.
Yeah, these is his fans, bro. Like, I mean, even in this video, he got over 114,000 people looking at it. You could look at this video right here. He got 157,000 people looking at it. I mean, you could look at this video. He got 34,000 people looking at it. These is his fans, bro. Like, who is he kidding? Like, I mean, who do he think he's fooling right now, bro? These is his fans, and he's trying to pretend like these is like a random 200,000 people. No, nobody's checking for you, Biz. Everybody's looking at the NBA playoffs, bro. Nobody's checking for Showbizz Boxing about this rule that is not a rule that you made up off the top of your head, and you didn't make it up. You stole it from somebody else. Nobody's checking for you, Biz. Like get over yourself, bro.
On this X post, so people are definitely interested.
No, Biz. Only your fans interested in this. Like nobody else. Nobody else is coming up with this nonsense, Biz. I mean, literally, Tony has been talking about this for years, and I mean, according to him, and at least he got an idea what the rules should be. I mean, so they wasn't checking for him. Why would they be checking for you? Nobody's checking for you, Biz. Like, calm down, bro.
Now on Instagram, I think we had over 2,000 votes, and over 80% is in agreement with the.
I mean, those the same people, bro. Like, I don't know why. Like, what don't you get, man? Those is literally the same people, bro.
And then on YouTube, we have over 3,000 votes there, I think.
Yeah, of course. YouTube, yes, it's going to be around 3,000 and 2,000 people. Those are the same people. Why are you trying to play like they're different people, bro? They're not, bro. Those are the same people, literally.
As well, and over 80%, just like Instagram, is in agreement with the rule. Now, the lowest.
Oh my God, dude. Can he stop?
Percentage in agreement is actually on X. I do think that this must be explained a bit more because there's a lot of questions, definitely, across all platforms.
He think he need to explain a rule that he did not even give the criteria for a little bit more. If you had an actual criteria for the rule, it would be nothing to explain.
Of this rule, and I think a lot of people are missing certain things, and maybe we can talk this through in the war room. First and foremost, why do I want to implement this rule? The reason is last weekend was arguably the.
Okay, check this out. He's supposed to be explaining this, right? I mean, he's supposed to be explaining this rule, right? Which is giving the criteria of the rule and everything else. But for some reason, he's not explaining the rule. He's going right to Devin Haney. Now, we're going to look at this example. I think it's a bad example that he's setting up for this rule. And I'm just going to let you guys know, I just think this guy just don't know boxing. And I'm about to show you how this guy don't know anything about boxing.
Worst weekend of boxing, all right, ever. And it's mostly due to the expectations. You have
Then he's saying this is the worst weekend of boxing. Actually, if you look at Devin Haney versus Herrera's fight, it was actually a great example of what boxing actually is and what boxing is supposed to be with two people with two high IQs of boxing. Again, remember what I said. Two people with a high IQ of boxing, you're not going to get a slugfest. It's going to be a chess match. Most of the time, and I'm going to be real, most of the time that was Bob Arum. Bob Arum always said, and whenever you look at any of Bob Arum interviews, look at all Bob Arum interviews. Whenever Bob Arum talk about black fighters, Bob Arum always complained how naturally good black fighters are and how naturally good their IQ and how naturally high their IQs are. And he said he don't like putting black fighters in a ring with one another because they're too good. It's not a slugfest. It's not as exciting as putting them in a ring with a Mexican, or it's not as exciting as a Mexican fighter, because he know that it's going to be a chess match versus it being a slugfest where people taking more risks, people making more mistakes. That's a slugfest. Because if you make a mistake, you're going to get knocked out, or you're going to get hurt. You're going to get knocked down, right? You know what I'm saying? Or you're taking more of a risk. You're not really, you neglecting defense to take a risk. That's exciting, right? You know, they call that brave, you know. But black fighters, they have a higher IQ. They naturally don't do those things. So if you put both of them in a ring, or you put them in a ring with even with a Mexican with a high IQ, and he actually know how to be a pressure fighter, because even pressure fighters with a high IQ don't just go and take risks. You see what I'm saying? They also can set traps too. So if you put two fighters in a ring, whether they black or white or Mexican or whatever, if they have a high IQ, it's going to be a whole lot of things going on besides them just throwing punches, because you're talking about two guys that's in the ring that is so professional that they're taking the most minimum risk as possible, but trying to suspect, but they want to get a large outcome. And in a fight like that, you're not going to get a slugfest. Now, you may get a knockout, you may get a mistake, but you in a fight right now. If you make a mistake, you may lose. You make a mistake, you may lose. You may lose a round. You make a mistake, you may lose the entire fight. You may get stopped. I mean, look at Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence fight. Those are two fighters with a high IQ. A lot of people say, like, well, Errol Spence, he ain't fight at his best. But, like, no, not honestly. It was just he was in the ring with a guy that was literally just as good as him, because that fight could have went the other way. Literally, if Terrence Crawford would have made one mistake in that ring, Errol Spence could have got Terrence Crawford out of there. It was just so happens that Errol Spence came with the wrong game plan, and he made a mistake in the ring. And where he mistaken, I think he mistake how strong Terrence was. That's where he made his mistake. But if you really honestly look at the fight, and we can look at that fight, if you really look at the fight, if you look at what they was doing in that fight, that also had a high IQ in that fight. So if you look at what they was doing in that fight, my mic just went out for no goddamn reason. But anyway, if you look at those fights with Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence, still showing ring generalship. They were still fighting for the space of the ring. They were still fighting at angles. And it was you talking about two people with a high IQ in boxing. And it wasn't a slugfest. I mean, we can look at the numbers of Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence. It wasn't really even a slugfest. It's really besides like the knockouts. I mean, it's like Terrence Crawford was just bang, 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 bang with a bunch of combinations, and Errol Spence. It wasn't none of that. And it wasn't like that. Terrence Crawford dominated him in a way. He dominated in a different way. He put on a boxing masterclass with Errol Spence. Why? Because he had to. Because if he not, it would have been it would not worked out for Terrence Crawford. Trust me, it would not worked out for Terrence Crawford. And I'm a Bud fan. I hate to keep on explaining that to you, but it would not have worked out for Terrence if Terrence would have came in there with anything less. Flat out. So I mean, we could look at this right now, and I could give you pretty much like a quick example of this real fast. I think this guy don't know.
Why do I want to implement this rule? The reason is...
Okay, check this out. What we looking at?
Last weekend.
Okay. So you have... Understand this. And I hate to put it to you like this, but hold on for 1 second. Okay. Real quick. All right. So you guys can see a little bit more. I need you guys to understand this. Okay. What we got right here. Now, if you look at where Devin Haney is at. You have the corner right here. You have Maruraz. Maruraz is the pressure fighter. Devin Haney is the boxer. Right now, Devin Haney is being the outside boxer. Now, I think Maruraz is actually a little bit bigger than Devin Haney. I think his arms is a little bit long. So, Devin Haney have to bait Maruraz, right? Had to bait Maruraz into engaging with him, actually. But let's just be traditional. Let's just keep it traditional. And let's assume that Devin Haney is the boxer. He's fighting from the outside. And his goal is, what I explained earlier, his goal is to utilize all 4 points of the ring. That corner, that corner, that corner. All 4 corners of the ring. Why? How would he utilize that? Well, he ever had to attack Maruraz, or whatever his name is. He had to attack him from a 90-degree angle at all points. He had to have the 90-degree angle open to him at all points where he can attack and get out the way. And either he's going to get out the way from this L or that L. So this is a L. I don't know if you guys can see my mouse, but that will be a L. Right? So he have an L right here on his back where he's at, and he's going to try to either engage with him real fast to get him off of him, score some points, and keep that 90-degree angle open to get away from him from this L. I mean, to get away from him from this 90-degree angle. So he's going to move on the back wall where he's at and move towards the corner and engage with him at the corner, and then move and continue on, moving on to the next L. Because Devin Haney back is at an L at the first 90-degree angle. You had the first wall, then you had the second wall, right? That would be the first 90-degree angle. Now, if he get behind him, he's at the second 90-degree angle. That means Devin Haney escaped, or he engaged and then he escaped out of the corner, or escaped with his back off the wall. A 90-degree angle is even at the middle of the ring, guys. It's not just in the corners. Now Devin Haney could attack him on this wall, boom, 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 engage, get out the way. He could counter him in the corner, boom, 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 pivot, get out the way, get on the next corner. He need to use all 4 corners to utilize the entire ring. He can't get trapped in this corner. He can't get trapped on these. He can't get trapped on these ropes. He can't get trapped to just 2 corners. He have to use all 4 corners to implement this strategy. If he can't use all 4 corners, he's failing. He's in a position where he's in not a favorable position. Now, he could be winning. He could be beating the guy. You know what I'm saying? Mayweather's good at that. I know y'all like to look at Mayweather, and Mayweather usually put himself in situations just to challenge people. This is like, hey, I'm so good, I'll let you trap me. And I will still beat your ass. And you still not gonna hit me, and I'ma still beat you. That's Mayweather. But Devin Haney, if a pure boxer, just to keep it traditional, have to use all four corners. Have to utilize the entire ring. Now, the entire ring is two 90-degree angles, which is two L's. One L is one wall, making the L, that's the ropes. One wall is two L's. That's it. That's your way of escaping. You must have enough room to escape, or enough space to escape, because that's what you're fighting for. You're fighting for space. Who's going to be more dominant in this exact space? Because that's what angles is. You're measuring space. Anyway, now, Ramirez, what is his goal? He know what he's fighting. He's fighting a boxer. He know that this boxer need to use all four corners, right? All four corners to basically, implement his strategy, for his strategy to be successful, right? So what do? Instead of chasing him in all four corners, which he can do that. I mean, he can do that if he won't, but it will be a harder fight for him. He may tire out. Instead of utilizing all four corners, I'm going to trap him in one corner, or at least trap him in only two corners. He may be on just one wall. He won't utilize the whole L. I'm going to keep him to just one L. What is that? It's called cutting off the ring. I'm cutting the 90-degree angle. I'm taking the 90-degree angle away from you, and I'm fighting you in a 45-degree angle, which is a triangle. That's how I'm fighting you. You're not utilizing the whole square space. I'm cutting the square space in half, and now I'm fighting you in a triangle. That's the only space that I'm utilizing. I'm taking that space, the space behind me, I'm taking that away from you and fighting you in a 45-degree angle, which is a triangle, which means I'm trapping you, and I'm trapping you either in the corner, or I'm trapping you in only two corners. So you only have two corners that actually fight me off of you. And since I'm bigger and since I'm stronger than you, most likely if I engage with you, I'm going to eventually knock you out. But that's his strategy. Now, he can't sit up here and go to the referee and say, hey, he's using a 90-degree angle. He's keep getting away from me. He's running away from me. He's not allowing me to put him in a 45-degree angle before I could implement my plan. He can't do that, because guess who else know what they're doing? Guess who else know what they're doing in the ring? The referee. So that's why the referee would never even agree to this stupid strategy, because the referee also know what's going on in the ring. The referee also know what they're doing. So the referee is not looking at it like, oh, he's running. The referee is looking at it like, oh, no, he's using the whole ring. And this guy's job is to cut off the ring. That's how you're looking at it. Here's an example.
And was arguing.
Devin Haney's moving right here. See here where his back is. His back is on this rope. Now, Devin Haney have an option, right? Devin Haney have an option to either utilize. We'll go back to this corner right here, right? Because he on this L right here, to see how he could go back to this corner right here, fight this guy off of the ropes, and utilize the whole 90-degree angle to escape here. Or he could go back to this corner, engage with him, that means Ramirez is actually forcing him to engage with him, and still go the way that he's going, which would be utilizing the 90-degree angle. Because the 90-degree angles give you two options of escape, two options to get away, two options to basically, pivot. They call it pivot because you turning the opponent around, but two options to pivot. But really, when you pivot, you're pivoting into the other 90-degree angle. You pivot into the other L, which means that you escape the first 90-degree angle, which means that you use all four corners. So Devin Haney's back is on this rope right here. I would just call it a wall. His back is on this right here. This is the first part of the L because it's on because this wall is connected to this corner and the corner right here. Now, Marrera's job is to keep Devin Haney either on this wall or punch Devin Haney, or punch and walk Devin Haney, punch, walk, or feint Devin Haney back into this corner and engage with Devin Haney, keeping him at this corner, and don't allow him to escape using a 90-degree angle, which would be cutting the ring off, right? Which would be cutting the 90-degree angle into a 45-degree or 30, whatever you want to call it. But it would be cutting it into an acute angle, which would be making a triangle, right? So you will be cutting that 90-degree angle and turning it into a triangle, which means you're cutting off space for him to escape. And the only way that he can escape, not that he can't escape, but the only way that he can escape is he have to go through you, which you being a bigger guy, which means that he have to engage, which is offense. He have to fight offensively with you. And every shot that you're throwing to him, you're just throwing punches to lead to basically get him to react in a way that you want him to react, because you want him to move in a certain area to trap himself where you want him to be at. Then you're going to throw more serious punches when you're engaging him and give him your full offense at the same time. At the same time of being responsible enough yourself, which is moving your head and things of that nature, to not get hit. Now, Devin Haney, if he's in that position, he also have to be responsible enough to know that sometimes you're going to get trapped in the corner. So therefore, you must be prepared to counter and fight off the ropes and still utilize a 90-degree angle and get away and try it all that. And then once he get away and once the fight reset or they clinch or whatever, break, they start the whole process again. And that goes on the entire time, the fight. And that's who, and that battle of space right there is going to determine whether or not the pressure fighter won or the boxer won. The inside fighter won or the outside boxer won. That little thing right there may determine the whole fight. Why? Because you got two fighters with high boxing IQs and they know this. And guess who else know this? The referee. He also know this. Guess who else know this? The pressure fighter's corner. They know this. Devin Haney's corner. They know this. Everybody that's involved in this fight know this. Everybody but Showbizz, it seems like. Okay.
You'll believe the worst.
Now, you see what Devin Haney had to do. He had to back the pressure fighter up, which means that, he got way too much respect for Devin. But he backed him up, and look what Devin Haney got. Backed him up with a jab, and Devin Haney got the space to go this way or that way. What Devin Haney's going to do, the pressure fighter, look what Ramirez is doing. He's coming back, he's feigning, he's walking Devin Haney.
All right.
Where he's walking Devin Haney, he's walking him in that corner. And when he's walked with him in that corner, I bet he attacked him. He did attack him. So he engaged with him soon as he went in the corner. Now look at where Devin Haney at now. Right? Look at Devin Haney's feet. He's on a bicycle. Devin Haney got either a 90-degree angle here, where he can escape here, or he can escape there. That's the boxer's. That's the boxer's option. Right? So that's his plan. Ramirez, look how he's got his feet planted. Now, a lot of you guys, y'all think y'all boxers. Y'all don't know shit about boxing. Y'all just look at YouTube nonsense. A lot of you guys will go, well, look how his body, look how his body weight is. Look, he's standing forward with his chin down, and he's not turned to the side. And look how Devin Haney is. Look how he's looking. He's standing forward. He's on his bicycle. He's not turned to the side. You don't know nothing about boxing. Stop talking. You don't know shit about boxing. Stop acting like you know what you're talking about. The reason why he's in this position, because he have Devin Haney in a triangle, which means if Devin Haney goes to his left, he's gonna lead Devin Haney back to his right. If Devin Haney goes to his right, he's gonna leave Devin Haney back to his left. Why? Because he want to trap Devin Haney in the 45-degree angle, cutting off his 90-degree angle, because that would force Devin Haney to engage with him in the corner. That's why he's like that, bro. I guarantee you, once he engaged with Devin Haney in a straight line, he's going to go back into his offensive position or his defensive position. But right now, he's in the offensive position because Devin Haney is in the defensive position. Devin Haney's on a bicycle. So he got to cut off the ring, which I think Ramirez, that's what he was trying to do. Ramirez had the right game plan. He just couldn't do it. He just couldn't do it because Devin Haney athletic ability. He just didn't have the athletic ability to do it with Devin Haney. He had the right game plan. He had the right boxing IQ. The only difference in this fight was Devin Haney athletic ability. That's it. It's not that he didn't have the right game plan. It's not that he didn't have the hand speed. None of that played a factor. Devin Haney athletic ability won this fight. Because Devin Haney was trapped right here. He was trapped. And he was trapped a lot of times in the fight. He still got away, though. He still utilized the entire ring. So let's go. Let's see.
It's mostly due to...
Now, look. He taking a jab at Devin Haney, which means you can see where his foot placement at. You see where Devin Haney's foot placement at? Devin Haney fainted, I think, to his left. They moved his foot to his right. And then once he threw the jab, which... he tried to throw the jab to Devin Haney to his right to force Devin Haney to go back to his left so he could go into the corner. Maybe I don't know. He's throwing a punch for Devin Haney to evade it a certain way so he could get back in the corner. Devin Haney was seeing that and said, "No, I'm going to escape this 90-degree angle. So you're going to have to readjust that, buddy." And then honestly, this was honestly a mistake from Devin Haney. We could talk about that, in more boxing conversation. But he threw the jab to the body because he ain't gonna be able to hit Devin Haney in the face. So he threw the jab to the body, which was smart. You know what I'm saying? It was a forward jab to the body, which was smart to try to get Devin. And then he threw the jab towards Devin Haney's left. Devin Haney was so athletic. At this point, Devin Haney was going the other way, then went back that way and still invaded the punch and got away behind him. Devin Haney could have actually pivoted him, but he was already going a different way anyway. And then look at this again, bro.
And it's mostly due to the expectation.
You see, he was going the other way and he look at this again, bro.
Of boxing, all right.
Look at this.
It's mostly due to the expectation.
Boom. He juked him, like boom, boom, and he tried to hit towards it, and Devin Haney still went that way, and now he got to readjust. Now look how he readjusted though. Now Devin Haney's already behind him. He's already at the other corner. Now look how he readjusted.
Canelo Alvarez.
Now look, he readjusted. He's with Devin Haney, and he's like, okay, you trying to go to this angle now. You think you about to hit this 90-degree angle behind me? No, you're not. I'm about to cut this rope off.
Go ahead,
and he cut it off. And look where he got Devin Haney at now. He got Devin Haney right here at this corner. Now Devin Haney got to work out the same corner. Devin Haney is still on the right angle. He's still on the one part of the L. He's not at the second part of the right angle triangle. He's not at the second part of the right angle of the ring. So he's not utilizing the whole ring at this point. He's only utilizing one wall of the ring. So Ramirez has successfully cut off the ring from Devin Haney. He just don't have the athletic ability to engage with Devin Haney. Showbiz. He just don't have the athletic ability to engage with Devin. He actually cut the ring off.
Yeah, Devin Haney. You have some of the biggest.
And Devin Haney got to go back and look where Devin Haney's going. He's going back to that corner.
Yes.
And then he tried to do it again. Devin Haney moves again.
And
then he tried to throw for his head this time.
Weekend end up.
He's like, okay, I got him where I want him now.
Being a huge disappointment. And what stands.
Look, he's back in that same corner.
Out is the running.
Boom, and he got to and get. Now I don't know why he didn't show that. God damn it. We're gonna have to go over that fight. Now at that time, Devin Haney got caught in that corner again, and look, and he I got you. Boom, boom, boom. Devin Haney had to fight his way out of that. He had to fight his way out of that. And you can see just by their foot movement how professional these guys is.
And it's mostly due
look, boom,
to the expectations.
So okay.
You have
and look, he jumped right back into position.
Canelo Alvarez, you have
move his feet to side, keeping his feet apart, and jump right in front of that and instantly cut off the ring. Because if Devin Haney would have kept trying to go that way, he could have easily left hook to the body or threw that same jab to the body and engage. And he could have did whatever he wanted to do with Devin Haney at that point. Devin Haney knew he had to go back over there.
Have Ryan Garcia, Devin Haney. You have some of the.
But according to Showbizz, Devin Haney is supposed to just stand there and get hit.
Names Teofimo Lopez. All
boom. I'm gonna dodge this again.
Weekend, and the weekend
boom,
ended up being a huge disappointment. And what
Showbizz want Devin Haney to get hit. I guess.
Out is the.
And look, he don't care. Okay, I got you. I got you now. And Devin Haney had to move forward because Devin Haney seen that his back was in the corner again. The same corner. That means he successfully cut off the ring. But according to Showbiz, pressure fighters should not. Who am I to tell a pressure fighter to do his job? Who am I to tell the pressure fighter to cut the ring off? Who am I? I'm just a regular guy that loves boxing. Who am I to tell the pressure fighter to do his damn job? Look at even Canelo. Okay, Canelo's trying to cut
Canelo Alvarez and
Canelo's trying to cut the ring and doing pretty much the same thing. Why did Canelo throw 2 punches? I don't know. But you can see this guy Skull
what he was doing with Ramirez. All right,
see with Skull. Look, even you can look at the difference with Canelo. Canelo was just giving up. Look at Canelo's feet
and the running from Devin Haney.
Look, Canelo is not even getting back in position, bro.
What he was doing with.
Right. You see what I'm saying? Like, Canelo is not even in the fight. He's not even getting back in position.
The running.
Look at Canelo's feet.
William Skull was doing against Canelo Alvarez.
Look.
And the running from Devin Haney.
And then that was it. Now he's letting him take advantage of the right angle. He's like, oh, forget it. I'm going to get him on. Why would you even try to attack him there instead of walking him into the corner?
Skull was doing against.
Like Ramirez was trying to do.
Alvarez and the running.
He tried to walk him into this corner. He tried to walk him on the back of this ropes. He got 2 options to get away. Of course, he's going to invade and wait in the corner. That's where the dip is at. Boom. That's where the right angle is at. Boom. And he like, oh man, shoot, I could just.
Haney,
okay, here go my L.
With Ramirez,
I can get away from that.
But it doesn't.
And you not putting yourself back in position to hit me. I could just. All right, I could just go ahead and use this right angle and go on the other side of the damn ring. I'm gonna walk you all the way over here now, and I'm gonna walk you all the way over here now. You gonna keep on missing me, and I'm gonna hit you. I'm gonna jab you over the head, and you gonna keep trying to hit my body, and I'm gonna move away. Then I'm gonna pop you upside your head again. Like, what you want them guys to do? According to Showbiz, he want them guys to get hit. I guess I don't
exclude.
But y'all see, but I hope I explained that
Devin Haney
best way I can, bro.
And it's most.
This is the perfect example. I don't even know why, like Showbiz. Yeah, Showbiz got this on his thumbnail too. Devin Haney and Ramirez. Devin Haney and Ramirez is not an example of a snooze fest whatsoever. Devin Haney and Ramirez is not an example of a boring fight whatsoever. I don't know what Antonio Tarver was looking at. This is just a boxer with a pressure fighter with 2 high IQs. Ramirez, he was more fighting like a inside fighter. He was trying to get in there and get him some good shots without getting countered. So he was more of a inside fighter, and he was just boxing. He was just fighting a boxer. An inside fighter is still a boxer. So I really, this is not a good example, bro. This is not a good example.
Due to the expectations. You have Canelo Alvarez.
Like you can see. You can see he successfully cut off the ring.
Have Ryan Garcia, Devin Haney.
You can't get mad at Devin Haney when the guy actually cut the ring off, and now Devin Haney is pretty much like, hey, all right, I gotta get, I gotta get my angle back, because that's what you fighting for. Oh, he didn't cut the ring off. Boop, boop, boop. Let me get my angle back. Let me get out. Oh, nope. You know what I'm saying? Nope. Let me get this back. Nope. Bow. Get away from me. Nope. Stop. Nope. I'm on the other side. All right. Let's go now. That's what this is. I'm not gonna say I'm in his head, but I'm in his head. That's what he's thinking. And the other guy is, no, you ain't getting over there. Nah, you got to go over here. Nope, this is where I want you. Okay, you here. Got you. You know what I'm saying? Caught you. And you know what I'm saying? Caught you. That's how he thinking. And guess what the referee is thinking? Oh, this guy, all right, he cutting the ring off. Okay, this guy, all right. That's how the referee is thinking. Oh, okay, he let the guy go over here. All right, we over here now. Long as they ain't clinching, long as they keeping it fair, I'm okay. Let them box. That's what the referee's thinking. Everybody that's involved in the fight know what's going on. It seems like only Showbizz is the only one that don't know what's going on.
Some of the biggest names, Teofimo Lopez, all in one weekend, and the weekend ended up being a huge disappointment. And what stands out is
this is a total bad. Look, even at that point, you could see that he trapped Devin Haney in that corner, and he was engaging with Devin. Just
that William Skull was doing against Canelo Alvarez, and the running from Devin Haney, what he was doing with Ramirez. All right, but it doesn't exclude the other boring fights that happened. Ryan Garcia versus Rolly Romero was not the best fight.
And then another thing is too, like, what that even got to do with your rule?
But it still was a shocker because Rolly Romero beat Ryan Garcia by decision. But we're not talking about that.
I just want to talk about this fight real quick because I don't know why you guys is like even on like. I don't know why you guys think like Rolly is like a genius or something, bro. Rolly, the only thing Rolly did to Ryan Garcia is took away the hook. He took away the left hook. That's it. That's all Rolly did. Rolly ain't have no master boxing. He ain't had no master defense. Rolly did one thing. He took away the left hook. That's it. I mean, honestly, Devin Haney fought a better opponent than Rolly. I mean, I'm sorry. I'm just being all the way honest. Devin Haney fought a way better opponent than Rolly. Because Ryan Garcia proved that he ain't without that left hook. The only punch that Rolly took away was the left hook. Because Ryan Garcia landed more shots on Rolly than Rolly landed on him. Think I'm lying? You think I'm lying? Facts don't lie, bro. Here we go. Ryan Garcia landed 60. Ryan Garcia threw 210 punches. He landed 66 punches, and Rolly Romero landed only. He threw 280 punches and landed only 57. Which means that Rolly threw more punches than Ryan Garcia, and Ryan Garcia had a better accuracy than Rolly. Matter of fact, Ryan Garcia had 31.4% accuracy over Rolly. Why did Ryan Garcia lose the fight? Because Ryan Garcia didn't connect with the left hook. So it's not even like Rolly was outboxing Ryan Garcia. Sorry, everybody. Sorry, everybody that thought Rolly was with Mayweather all of a sudden. Sorry, no, he's not. He only took one punch away from him, and the only reason why he won is because the judges gave it to him because he knocked Ryan Garcia on his ass. That's the only real reason why. The fight was pretty much dead even before that. And honestly, if you look at the copy box numbers, Ryan Garcia technically was winning the fight. He just couldn't do any. He just couldn't hit him with his left hook. That's it. And Rolly was hitting him harder. Every time he tried to throw the left hook, Rolly was countering it with a hard shot. Facts. Sorry. So all this, Rolly was he was better than Devin Haney. Devin Haney put on a masterclass boxing, using all 4 points of the ring, invading punches, counter punching. Let's just look at Devin Haney. Let's look at Devin. Here we go. All facts. Devin Haney threw 224 punches, landed 70 punches, and is not a slugfest. Remember, this is high boxing IQ. Of course, they're going to have a low volume of punches, right? And it's on Ramirez to force the action, because Devin Haney is the outside fighter. He's going to try to counter punch. He's going to try to counter. He's going to try to fight out the corner. That's really what outbox is doing. He's going to try to control the entire ring, all the spaces in the ring. Now, could Devin Haney throw more punches? Could Devin Haney engage a little bit more, use a little bit more offense? Yeah, he could have. You could criticize him for that. Yeah, you can. Should Devin Haney landed more punch? Yeah, you can. You could say that, right? But is that the fault of Devin Haney? No. Is that the fault of Ramirez? Yes, it is. It's the fault of Ramirez, because Ramirez should have been forcing the action. But sometimes you can't even blame Ramirez, because maybe it's not in Ramirez's game plan for him to force the action. Maybe it was in his game plan to actually trap Devin Haney. So if them two is basically both trying to trap one another, then of course it's going to be a low volume of punches being thrown. Both opponents is trying to trap one another. So it's a chess match. But even in this chess match, right, as you actually looking at the fight, even in this chess match, Devin Haney landed more punches than all of these guys. More than Ramirez, more than Rolly, more than Alvarez, more than Skull, more than Rolly, more than Rolly, more than Garcia. Facts. So I really don't know how Devin Haney even made it in this video.
We're talking about the fact that you have two of the most historically worst bouts ever on the same weekend. Devin Haney, William Skull, and the way.
Now, how is Devin Haney had the worst bout of the weekend? Make this make sense. I just want you to listen to his criteria of why Devin Haney had the worst fight of the weekend. Check this out.
That they performed. Now, it's important to note that the poster child of running and boring was Shakur Stevenson's performance against De Los Santos, where a total of 105 punches were landed in that fight, making that fight a snooze fest.
Okay, so I see what's going on. So I guess he's adding all of the punches that was thrown in the fight, instead of him just saying, "Oh well, Shakur Stevenson landed 65 punches."
Devin Haney versus Ramirez, a total of 110 punches were landed.
Now, instead of him basically saying, well, Devin Haney landed 70 punches, he want to add up both fighters. To try to play like Devin Haney is responsible for Ramirez landing only 40 punches. But Ramirez threw 279 punches. So he just couldn't land more punches. So you say, oh, well, only these amount of punches was landed. Yeah, but they still threw around the same amount of punches. Like, look, hold up. Okay. They still threw the same amount of punches. Matter of fact, De Los Santos threw more punches, right? he threw more punches. And then if you look at Devin Haney box numbers, I mean, Devin Haney, Ramirez threw 279 punches, right? He threw 279 punches. Stevenson only threw 209 punches. Devin Haney threw 224 punches, my bad. Ramirez threw 279 punches, right? De Los Santos, he threw 316 punches, so he really was getting invaded. So he only had 12% connection. So, but they both had the same, as far as connecting with punches. Devin Haney had better accuracy. I mean, at least a small percentage of a better accuracy than Stevenson. That's why he landed more shots. And but they still pretty much threw the same amount of punches. But they was fighting in a high IQ. Now, De Los Santos is another one that know how to cut off the ring. It's just two high IQ fighters in the ring, in a chess match. So Stevenson and Devin Haney, based on the two fights that they had, those are chess matches. You know what I'm saying? It's just four fighters with high IQs. It's fighting. And they're in a chess match. These is just, I mean, I don't really know how to explain it, bro. I don't know how to explain it. Now, I mean, this what Alvarez, you could even say this is a high IQ, you know what I'm saying? But Alvarez literally just gave up in the fight, bro. So it's like, and then it was absolutely no excuse for them to, I mean, listen, Canelo Alvarez, he threw less punches than Devin Haney. Devin Haney threw 224 punches. Shakur Stevenson threw 209 punches. Okay? Ramirez threw 279 punches. Of course, we know the other guy threw 316. De Los Santos threw 316 punches. Check this out, bro. Check this out. William Skull threw 293 punches, bro. He threw 293 punches. He landed 55, which is bad. I think this is all cap, y'all. I think this is all cap. But he threw 293 punches, landed only 55. I think this is cap. I think this is cap, y'all. And Canelo Alvarez, and I think this is cap, threw only 152 punches. Which I think is cap. All cap. But he threw 152 punches and he landed 56 punches. So that means that Canelo Alvarez, he threw less punches than Devin Haney. He threw less punches than everybody. I mean, listen, even Ryan Garcia threw 210 punches. Canelo Alvarez threw, he literally only threw 152 punches, bro. The entire fight. And he's complaining about Devin Haney. Why do he got Devin Haney picture up there when Canelo Alvarez literally only threw 152 punches? Even if you want to say William Skull ran, it's dude. Canelo Alvarez threw less punches than this guy. How is he running? Listen, if the copy box numbers ain't saying that, because how is he running when Canelo Alvarez threw only 152 punches and he threw 293 punches? How he run? He ain't running that much. It seemed like Canelo Alvarez got frustrated and he was not. And you see in this clip, and you can look at the difference between Ramirez and you can look at Canelo Alvarez.
The other boring fights that happened, Ryan Garcia, Devin Haney, what he
look
was
at
doing
this.
with
He
Ramirez,
walking around.
William Skull,
Look at it. This ain't how you cut the ring off. You just following the guy around.
It's Canelo Alvarez and the running.
Look, that's like the best example of Canelo cutting the ring off. It was way worse, y'all. It was way worse, y'all. It was way worse, y'all. Way worse. It was way worse, y'all. That's why I watched that fight. That's why I know they all cap. They capping. He ain't laying no 56 punches, bro. He cap. They cap. Big cap. Check this out. Look. Look. He's letting him. Look at Canelo. Look at Canelo. He's letting him do this. He's letting him. He's letting him just, okay, you can have it. You can walk on that side. I'm gonna follow you. I'm gonna follow you here. I'm gonna follow you there. I'm gonna follow you to this corner. I'm gonna follow you to that corner. You just running, bro. You just running. Got the ticket and but you just running. Yeah, you supposed to catch him. You supposed to catch him. Yeah, you supposed to cut the ring off, catch him, hit him, bro. I mean, throw a punch. I mean, look, bro. I'm not. If I'm lying, I'm not lying. He threw only 152 freaking punches. And Showbizz is sitting here telling us that William Skull and Devin Haney stunk up the night. What are you on crack? Alvarez stunk up tonight. Alvarez only threw 152 punches in the fight. Maybe I'm wrong. Dude, William Skull threw more punches than Devin Haney. He threw more punches than Ryan freaking Garcia. He almost threw as many punches as De Los Santos. I can't make this up, man. So you already know that Showbizz made this video and he came up with this rule for Alvarez because he's not even giving Alvarez. I mean, according to Showbizz, I mean, at least according to Tony, the guy that made up the rule, Canelo Alvarez will be getting he'd be the one getting the point. He only threw 152 punches and landed 56, which is big cap. I say he landed maybe 25 punches, bro. I give him 25 for how many times I counted the body shots he landed. 25. The rest of those punches, the guy either got away from him or Canelo hit his arms. He blocked him. So big cap. Canelo Alvarez is a bum in my opinion now. All right.
What he was doing with Ramirez, all right? But it doesn't exclude the other boring fights that happened. Ryan Garcia versus Rolly Romero was not the best fight, but it still was a shocker because Rolly Romero beat.
Hold on. Check this out, bro. We already did this, though. So this is not a boring fight. So Devin Haney fight is boring, even though he threw 224 punches and landed 70. Right, his opponent threw 279 punches and landed 40. Right, okay. Say that's boring. Okay, that's cool. Explain this, bro. Ryan Garcia only threw 210 punches and only landed 66. Devin Haney landed 70. His opponent threw 280 punches and landed 57. Okay. So Devin Haney landed more punches than Rolly, who won the fight, and he landed more punches than Ryan Garcia. Make this make sense? So how is this Devin Haney's fault? And on top of that, if you look at Devin Haney fight and you look at Ryan Garcia fight, the only thing that Rolly Romero took away was Ryan Garcia's left hook. Other than that, them two idiots was just standing in the ring and just not even engaging with each other, bro. I mean, it was no movement. It was none of that. They're just standing in the middle of the ring, and he just basically took away his left hook. That's what was going on. Whereas Devin Haney's fight, Devin Haney, they utilizing the whole ring. You're looking at the IQ of an inside fighter and an outside fighter. You're looking at a classic boxing match. Get out of here, bro. You don't know boxing, bro. I don't even think you even like
Ryan Garcia by decision. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about the fact that you have two of the most historically worst bouts ever on the same weekend. Devin Haney.
This dude said two of the most historically worst bouts, when one of the bouts, far as copy box stacks, have better stacks than the fights that he's saying is better. He's saying the Rolly and Ryan Garcia fight is better, but the Devin Haney have better stacks than all of both of those opponents. I mean, make this make sense, bro. Make this make sense. If you're going to say because it had low volume, all of them fights had low volume. Make it make sense.
William Skull and the way that they performed. Now, it's important to note that the poster child of running and boring was Shakur Stevenson's performance against De Los Santos, where a total of 105 punches were landed in that fight, making that fight a snooze fest. Devin Haney versus Ramirez.
According to you, this is all according to him. And he's saying a low volume is making it a snooze fest without him looking at the fight. Okay. Well, if you saying the low volume in that fight makes it a snooze fest, that means all of those fights was snooze fests then. Because all of those fights had low volume. Make it make sense, bro.
A total of 110 punches were landed that fight. That's only 5 punches more than the snooze fest of Shakur Stevenson versus De Los Santos.
Okay.
And Canelo Alvarez versus William Skull, only 1 punch more than the Haney fight, which was 111 total punches.
Yeah, which is all cap. So why is that fight? Oh, so that's a snooze fest too, then, right? But who is the biggest contributor of the snooze fest? Is it William Skull? Because you basing this just on punches. So who's the bigger contributor of the snooze fest? Is it Alvarez or William Skull? Remember, he's basing this off just punches. Just how many punches were thrown, or how many punches was landed. Who's the biggest contributor of that? You got to look at how many punches did they throw. Okay, Alvarez only threw 152 punches. At least William Skull threw 293. So is we gonna fault Alvarez for evading 293 punches? I mean, at least what? At least 200 punches. He evaded 200 punches. I mean, William Skull only pretty much ducked maybe 100 punches. Is we gonna fault Alvarez for throwing only 152 punches and evading 200? Which is all cat. But is we gonna do that? Because I mean, if we just looking at this based on punch stacks, with a guy, you gotta fault the guy that threw the least amount of punches and landed the least amount of punches. I mean, Alvarez, he landed one more punch than Skull, which is cap. But he threw the least amount. He only threw 152. And then you basing this off of how many punches they threw. So I mean, the biggest contributor to that is Canelo Alvarez. So he had the weakest fight out of all of them. But check this out. Check this out, bro. You know what's funny about this? Ryan Garcia and Rolly Romero also had low volume. So what are you talking about, bro? What is you on drugs or something? What is you talking about, bro? What is he talking about? So this was a snooze fest too. Now, me personally, I don't think they were snooze fests. I just think that, hey, this is the level of fighters that's in the ring. A lot of these fights are going to be chess matches. That's why a lot of these guys need to have rematches. You know what I'm saying? You know, because you going in there, you fighting the guy for the first time. You don't really know him. You don't know how he's going to react. In a rematch, you know what that guy's going to do. You know most likely this is what he's going to do. So I could prepare for this and I could fight better. At least with a high IQ fight, or it's a chess match. Okay, let's get him in the ring again for the rematch. Okay.
Punches landed by Canelo Alvarez and William Skull in their fight. All right, so you have the poster child of boring fights in Shakur Stevenson versus Dalo.
And he's just so quick, and so he said it's so quick. Okay, let's just be real. Only Mace the one that made that popular, calling Shakur Stevenson boring. I don't know why my mic keep doing this. Mace the one that made that popular, bro. So let's be real. Mace made that popular, saying Shakur Stevenson is boring. He did that. I don't know why this guy's trying to make like Mace is something like Larry Merchant or something. Like Mace is some type of boxing analyst. Mace don't know shit about boxing. He don't understand boxing. He don't know nothing about it. Mace could claim that he been in the ring as much as he like. Mace don't know shit about boxing. So Mace saying somebody is boring and all that, nobody give a fuck about Mace. Just like nobody care about you, bro. So you could cut that out. Oh, well, you know, Shakur Stevenson is the most boring. Yeah, because Mace said it, bro. He a rapper, a preacher, rapper. Who gives a shit, bro? Nobody cares. Nobody cares what the preacher. Nobody cared what the preacher said, bro. Tell Mace to take it to Jesus.
Santos, and similar numbers happened twice in the same weekend, which encouraged.
Wait a minute. Hold on, bro. I'm counting 3 times here. 1, low, according to you, low punch stacks, punches being thrown. That's 1. That's Devin Haney. That's 2. Definitely Canelo Alvarez. No, he threw the less. And 3, Rolly and Garcia. Why are you only talking about the 2? And you got Devin Haney on the. Why are you only talking about the 2, bruh? Now you see what this is about, y'all. I'm just wanting y'all to see this not about making a rule. This is about him and his guy that he want to win. He want his guy to have the advantage. This not about no rule. He just want his guy to have the advantage. Because he's only complaining. I mean, look at what he's complaining about. I mean, he already told you what he want the rule to be. He want the rule for you to, hey, instead of you using defense, use offense all the time. Because it give his bigger guy the advantage. Look who's his guy about to fight. He's about to fight Terrence Crawford. Who is Terrence Crawford? A smaller guy. So what Terrence Crawford going to have to do to beat his guy? Box. What is boxing? Hit, don't get hit. How you don't get hit? Use defense. What is one of the things you could use with a big guy using defense? What's more effective? Moving. What is he trying to stop? Moving. What he want the rule to be against? Moving. Why? Because his guy don't like movers. Why? Because his guy can't cut the ring off. Why? Because this guy ain't as athletic as the little guy. You see what I'm saying? You see where I'm going with this? We looking at a total clown right now, y'all.
Think of a way for this to not happen again. We definitely don't want fighters to see this way of winning and start training to that, because
I just said it, did I? Holy shit, bro. I didn't see this part, y'all. I swear to God. Didn't I just say that? He don't want the guy to train like a boxer because he want his guy to have the advantage. So he said, oh, well, you know what? This strategy actually wins. It's actually a good strategy versus the guy that's always using offense. Somebody is always using defense. That's actually a good strategy. So we don't want you to train like that. And we don't want you. Did I didn't even. I swear to God, bro. I did not know he was going to say that, y'all. I didn't even look at the video past this part. Swear to God. So I mean, let's look at it again, bro. I mean, goddamn.
Way of winning and start training to that.
Start training to that.
Me to think of a way for this to not happen.
Now this is big cap. Now he's saying that he thought of this. A guy named Tony thought of this. I mean, he made the video years ago. So he's big cap. He's taking somebody's stuff, bro. What is going on? He said he came up with this in his mind. So you were so traumatized. You were so traumatized that your boy Canelo Alvarez had the worst punch stacks out of all of them. You had to come up with a way to stop guys from using movement. Now you calling it excessive movement, but what it actually is the fundamental, based in the fundamentals of boxing, is movement. It's using defense. That's a basic fundamental of boxing, bro. You want to change a fundamental in boxing so your guy can have an advantage, to make it better for your guy. Don't try to lie and say you want to make it more entertaining for the fans. You know your guy don't like that style. Now you want to change that for your guy. You are a clown, Showbizz. You are a clown, bro. Just want you to know that. You are a clown.
And again,
you're constantly doing this whole I want to make it fair for everybody. And you're constantly ignoring what's really going on with this stuff. It's like you trying to appease the white like, come on, we don't got to go there, bro. We know what's going on. You're trying to appease the white people and the Puerto Ricans, bro. Let's just be real. Those are your fans. Your fans is the white people and the Puerto Ricans. You're trying to appease them, bro. The white people and the Puerto Ricans know they can't do nothing with the black fighter that's on defense. They can't. It's hard for them to pressure the slick fighter. We know who the slick fighter is. We know most of them is the black people. Now, I'm gonna explain this. No, I'm gonna explain it now. Forget it. It's already like an hour in the video, or at least 30 minutes in the video. It's already an hour in the video. I'm gonna explain it now. Listen. Before Turkey Alex Sheed, because he sent that thing to Turkey Alex Sheed. He had Turkey Alex Sheed in the post. Before Turkey Alex Sheed, which is just a sponsor. I mean, he just basically a broker. He's not a promoter. He's a broker. He has the money, right? But Turkey Alex Sheed, he has the money, and he will only sponsor fights that he wants to see. Now, Turkey Alex Sheed is a fan of he's a fan of a lot of these black fighters. He want to get these black fighters in the ring with all these big names because these is his favorite fighters. I mean, let's just be real. Turkey Alex Sheed, he loves Terrence Crawford. Turkey Alex Sheed, he loves Boots Ennis. Turkey Alex Sheed, he like Canelo Alvarez. Turkey Alex Sheed want to put these fighters in the ring with one another. Now, the whole thing back in the day, the whole thing was you can't put it's not fair to put those black fighters in the ring because they naturally gifted and their IQ is so naturally gifted that it would make the fight boring and don't nobody want to see that. That's where the whole boring fighter nonsense came from. Or you can't put two black fighters in the ring because they both counter punches, so they're not going to engage in a fight with one another because of their IQs. And it's not fair, and don't nobody want to see that. So it's not going to make us no money. And black people don't support one another. Black people don't come out to these fights. That was their excuse to not make these fights with these bigger names with the black fighter or the slick fighter. That was their excuse to keep the black fighter out of these big fights. Or they'll wait till the black fighter get into these wars with each other, then wait till they break themselves down like they did Ronald Ricky Wright. Wait till them break themselves down and then put them in a fight with one of these little younger warriors and then let them get beat up. What they did to Ricky Wright, what they tried to do to Paul Williams, and what they tried to do to Floyd Mayweather. It's just that Floyd Mayweather is just a phenom. I mean, it was nothing they can really do with him. Like, and then once Floyd Mayweather beat De La Hoya, he was already the cash cow. He was playing the bad guy, and people just loved that character. And then they were just putting Floyd Mayweather in fights just to see him lose. So they was trying to get rid of that. They was trying to get rid of the superiority of a black fighter. They don't want another Floyd Mayweather. Remember, this whole thing is they do not want another Floyd Mayweather. I hate to try to play like this is some type of conspiracy, but it's not. I mean, this is what Bob Arum have been saying it out of his mouth. He said it out of his own mouth that I don't like promoting black fighters and putting black fighters in the ring with these guys because these black fighters are naturally gifted. He said you could go walk down the street and go talk to an average black man, tell him to do a jab, and he's naturally going to do an accurate, perfect, fundamental jab. And you could go walk down the street and go walk into a boxing gym with a white guy, and he don't even know how to throw a jab. I ain't say this. I gotta get the video. Bob Arum said this. Aaron said this on the radio, and he literally said, I don't want to put these black fighters. He the one that came up with this stupid narrative years ago. That's why he was trying to fuck Mayweather and them around. That's why he was doing all these damn fights with Eric Morales and Burrell and all them, letting them fight each other multiple times. All those guys is beating each other. Mayweather was right in those guys' weight class. That's why Mayweather act the way he act right now. Hate to say it. I had to put it to you like that. But I hate to say it. The reason why Mayweather was acting the way he was acting, not giving those guys a chance and all that, because that Mayweather was like, hey, look, when I was trying to fight Eric Morales, you guys didn't want to, y'all guys say nobody wanted to see that because y'all said it was going to be boring. And then when Eric Morales lost to that Burrell kid, y'all ain't want to let me fight him. That guy won that fight, and he went right back down to 135. And when I wasn't even down there no more. And you guys didn't give me credit for none of the guys that I even beat. Now, of course, Mayweather didn't fight some of the guys he was supposed to fight. But remember, one of the reasons why Mayweather didn't fight some of those guys, because they was black. And according to Bob Arum, you can't put according to Bob, and not just Bob Arum, with other promoters too, you can't put two black fighters in the same ring with one another because their IQs is so high, it's going to be a chess match. And nobody want to look at a chess match. That's boring. So you see what they calling boring? They calling good boxing, like what I just explained with you with Devin Haney and Ramirez. It's not even honestly just black fighters. Sometimes it's some Mexican fighters too. It's some white. It's just they just don't like that style. But mostly it's just black fighters. Let's just be real. But they went for, oh, well, they too talented. They went from, oh, their IQs is too much. But then they went to, oh, it's just boring. And because it went from, oh, this fight is going to be a chess match because both of these guys is good, to, oh, this is going to be a boring fight. Oh, that was just boring. There was no fight. It's not Gotti Ward. That's a Gotti Ward. If you really look at Gotti Ward, it's the most unprofessional fight that you will ever see in your life. It's not Marvelous. It's not Hagler and Thomas Hearns at all. Hagler, Thomas Hearns was just really, Thomas Hearns gave Hagler his best shot, technically. Thomas Hearns took the best shot and returned it with his best shot. Really, Thomas Hearns made a mistake. And Thomas Hearns couldn't recover from the mistake. And it was action-packed. Still was a technical fight. Gotti Ward was just basically them two jumping in the middle of the ring, banging with each other. And then when Gotti tried to pull that with Mayweather, Mayweather beat the hell out of him. He tried to pull that with Mayweather, thinking Mayweather was going to stand in the middle of the ring with him. Mayweather like, no, I'm not. It's still knock Gotti all over the ring. He said, I'm gonna beat you technically. I'm gonna show you how my IQ is. I'm gonna hit you, and I'm gonna show you that you can't hit me. I'm gonna show you in these first few rounds that you can't hit me. And then in the next few rounds, I'm going to show you how I'm going to hit you anywhere I want to hit you. Then I'm going to get you out of here. And that's what he did. Why? Because he have a higher boxing IQ than Gotti do. Gotti is just a regular fighter compared to Mayweather. And in most cases, that's what it's going to be with a black fighter. So what they're trying to do now is create a rule to handicap one of the things that black fighters use in a ring. Let's just be real. These is all facts. And you know what's sad? Showbizz, I don't know, because I'm not gonna be sit up here and try to act like Showbizz is some type of elite or something. You know what I'm saying? But Showbizz is one of those guys. He want to get along to get along. So he want to be friends with everybody. He don't understand that boxing is a racist sport anyway. It was racist from the very beginning. I mean, he's about to prove that. I mean, I'm pretty sure by the end of this, he's going to somehow prove that he really don't understand anything about this sport. But let this be known, this is not some narrative that he's coming up with on his, like, this is not something that this coming up, a narrative that he's going to come up with. If they let this in, it's not going to stop where he want to stop. I mean, this is just ridiculous what he's even talking about. I mean, this is not even what Tony was even saying. And that's what I was saying to Tony yesterday. I said, listen, if you create a rule like that, that rule could easily be corrupted. I mean, that rule could literally handicap a fighter to the point where he cannot use defense, not defense in the way that he learned how to use it. All facts. So, and I think Showbiz really don't understand. A lot of this comes from ignorance, and a lot of this comes from you just really don't understand boxing, bro. And a lot of this comes from, oh yeah, I'm black and I support boxing. And you know, a lot of black people like to try to be, you know how you go to work and black people try to be like cool with white people just to show white people like, you know what, I'm cool with y'all. Y'all ain't bad. And knowing damn well the white people is so damn is fucking racist as hell. Everybody at the job know that the boss is racist. Everybody at the job is pretty much about to quit soon as they get their check. And this one idiot that the boss is somehow nice to is like, man, you know what? White people he ain't really all that bad. He ain't really racist like that, man. You know what I'm saying? He gave me a raise 6 years ago. You talking about when you became a regular worker from the temp service, bro? Yeah. They ain't have to give me the raise. Yeah, they ain't have to give you the raise, but it's kind of like in your contract, bro. Man, I'm just saying, man. That's showbiz, bro. That's showbiz. He just happy he got a bigger check than you. That's all. That's showbiz. Because there's absolutely no reason to sit up here to do any of this. I mean, and then he caping for like Alvarez. You can see clearly he's caping for Alvarez. Alvarez should be the main target. I mean, according to him, all of this is based on box stacks. So Alvarez should be your main target. He only threw 152 punches, bro. Why is you even talking about Devin Haney? He landed more punches than all of them, including Shakur Stevenson, bro. Including Ryan Garcia, who landed 66 punches, which is cap, but still, bro. Now, I think it's actually cap that Alvarez landed 56. I think that is big cap, bro. I think that's big cap, and I think that's big cap because I think they just gave him the 56 punches that he so-called landed because they knew that Ring Skull dude landed more. Now, let's go, bro. Let's go, bro.
Definitely don't want fighters to see this way of winning and start training to that because there's no rules in place. Now
check this out. He said, we don't want to see these fighters see that using defense as a way of winning and start training a defense and using that as a strategy without a rule in place. So you're gonna create a rule to discourage them from fighting, from using defense. So you want to create a rule to discourage them for using movement. And he really think this is a good idea.
Let's talk about the rule. I want to say this, side note. Shakur Stevenson, he actually responded on my X post. A lot of people are like, oh my God, Shakur Stevenson, he felt touched by this this possible rule. No, I think he's the perfect person to respond to it. Let me tell you what he said. So Shakur Stevenson, he responded and he said, so when Sugar Ray...
You see that, Shakur? You shouldn't even be jumping out of there. Nah, he's trying to play like you some type of bum or something. Oh, he the perfect person to respond to. Like, who are you to be... Okay, let's look at this.
Fought Roberto Duran, the second fight, which was the No Mas fight. Would this rule have applied to that? All right, so which was a fantastic question. So I responded to that by saying, yes.
First off, let's just be honest. Shakur Stevenson is already a dummy. You know why? Because Showbizz didn't even explain the rule yet. He didn't even give you the criteria of the rule yet. He didn't give you the criteria of the rule at all because Tony didn't even give the criteria of the rule yet. Tony, the guy that he stole this from, he don't got no criteria of the rule. He got to do that Saturday. So he don't know. So Showbiz don't know what the rule is. Showbiz only know what the rule is supposed to be doing. He don't know what it is. He don't know the criteria of the rule. He don't even know what the rule is. So why is Shakur Stevenson chiming in on something that he didn't even explain yet? If anything, you should have been saying, hey man, what is this no running rule? Like, you haven't explained what the rule is yet. What is it? And the only thing that you're talking about is excessive clinching, and you're saying that excessive movement and excessive avoidance, but you didn't say what the rule is. So let's go again. Now watch, as we can see right now. He said yes. If this rule was in place, the ref would have grounds to verbally encourage engagement. Okay, check this out. How would he have the grounds to encourage engagement when the ref don't know what you haven't even explained to the rule is to the ref? So he gonna say to have grounds to encourage engagement. Again, what is engagement? They're already engaging. If you're utilizing defense or offense in the ring, you're already engaging. So the ref don't have to encourage engagement, because sooner they get in the ring and get the boxing, they're already engaging. It seems like you only want the ref to encourage offensive engagement, which you should say encourage offense. But you know that everybody gonna know that is bullshit, because defense is also in boxing. That's a fundamental in boxing.
If this rule was in place, the ref would have had grounds to verbally encourage engagement, just like excessive clinching. There's verbal engagement, then a warning, then hard warning, then possibly a point deduction. Of course, it wouldn't have been an automatic deduction. Understand what I'm saying here. It is very similar to the excessive clinching rule. Now, the clinching rule was put into place because of how boxing was. All right, if you look at the days of Jack Johnson.
My bad about that, man. Just a few technical difficulties, but yeah, I'm about to pretty much end this video right here. We could look at a little bit of it, but I think we got the gist of it. Like I said, it seems like to me that Showbiz just wanted to stop. It seems like to me he have a problem with defense. I think that's pretty clear to see. I mean, because we could just go back to what he's saying. Even when he answered Shakur Stevenson, He's only talking about he have a problem with the fighter not using offense to his discretion, because he's basically saying that the referee should have his discretion because he haven't gave us a rule yet. So he said, yes, if this rule was in place, what rule? He haven't given us a rule. The ref would have had grounds to verbally encourage engagement. The referee shouldn't have grounds to encourage any type of engagement whatsoever, because you're basically saying you want the referee to dictate the fight. The referees shouldn't have the grounds to dictate the fight in any way. In either way, the ref shouldn't be encouraging anybody to fight defensively, and the ref shouldn't be encouraging anybody to fight offensively. The ref don't. That's not the ref job. The ref job is to make sure that both fighters are safe, number one, and basically both fighters are fighting to the fundamentals of the game, which is the sport. So long as they're not doing anything that's contradicting the sport, such as clinching too much, or hitting below the belt or things of that nature, then the ref don't have the grounds to do anything other than that. It seems like you're trying to get a ref too much power, right? So as he said, him just by him answering this question, it already tells you what Showbizz is asking for. So we're gonna go into the second part of this video. We have gotten through half of the video, and I think it really get worse from here. And we're gonna react to the second part of this video. But hopefully you guys see a little bit where I'm coming from here, because I mean, me, it just seems like he just don't like the fact. It seems like most of this stuff is about Canelo Alvarez and his upcoming fight with Terrence Crawford, and he don't want Terrence Crawford to use defense. He wants Terrence Crawford to use the defense where he's taking more of a risk. And that's really what it comes down to. They don't like these slick fighters because these slick fighters is not taking a risk. I mean, even if you want to say, well, I'm not talking about Sugar Ray Leonard, or I'm not talking about Muhammad Ali, and I'm not talking about these fighters because those guys actually box and blase, skip. Those guys actually let their hands go. Great. They have to let their hands go if they want to win the fight. I'm talking about guys who's not letting their hands go. Great. But those guys already have a penalty against them. They're going to lose the fight because they're not scoring points. You can't knock the guy for just basically playing defense. If the guy want to just play defense and he don't want to engage offensively, yeah, he's not scoring points. So he's not going to win the fight anyway. I mean, and then in most cases, the ref is going to stop the fight. He's not going to take points away. He's going to stop the fight. What's the purpose of the referee taking points away and he's already losing the fight? Make sense? If you're saying, and this is for Tony, because what Showbizz is saying is totally ridiculous. If everything he's saying is just absolutely stupid. But this is really for Tony, the guy that made this rule up. Why do the referee need to take a point from a guy if he's not contradicting the fundamental rule of the sport? If he's not contradicting anything in boxing, right? Why should a referee take a point from the guy because he's using too much defense, according to you? Because he's not, because you don't like it. Why should he take a point away from him? Because if he's using too much defense and he's not using any offense, then that means technically if the other guy is attacking him, the guy that's only using defense is losing the fight because he's not scoring points and the other guy is. If the other guy is being the aggressor and he's scoring because he's going to eventually hit that guy, and the guy that's just running away, he's just trying to survive, not scoring. What is the problem? Because the penalty is already there. The penalty is basically, hey, you're going to lose the fight because you're, using way too much defense and you're not taking any risk to fight offensively. And this guy is going to eventually hit you. He's going to eventually hurt you. And you're not winning any rounds doing this because you're not throwing any punches. And the other guy is. So how is that? So why would the referee have to stop that fighter to take any points away from him when he's not scoring anyway? I mean, according to you, Tony, the guy is not scoring points because he ain't throwing punches. He's just running around the ring, according to you, Tony, and according to you, Showbiz. The guy is just running around the ring, not throwing punches, so he's not scoring, versus his opponent who is trying to score or who is scoring. So why do the referee need to step in and take away points away from that guy when he ain't scoring anyway? He's already losing a round. Why do he need to take a point away from him when he's already losing a round? That defeats the purpose. And on top of that, he's not even breaking the fundamentals of boxing. He's just only using one aspect of the fundamentals of boxing, but he's still using it. So the penalty is that he's losing anyway, so there's no reason for the referee to even take a point. And there's no reason for the referee to stop him. Now, if he's not engaging in an aspect of not defending himself, and he's running around the ring and he's about to get hurt, and he's running around the ring and he can't defend himself, he just keep constantly getting caught and he's not fighting back and he don't want to fight, then if the referee can, at his discretion, stop the fight. Because now he can't defend himself. And he's just running into hate makers here and there. And if he keep this up, he's going to get hurt. Now the ref, which that rule is already in place. The ref could say, hey, I see you. You're not fighting. You're not defending yourself. You're going to eventually I don't want to risk you getting hurt. And he could stop the fight. So that's another example of someone basically using that style and losing the fight that way. Will the referee do step in? But see, the problem with Showbiz is that he have a problem with the fighters that's winning using movement. Now, how do you win using movement? Usually you have to fight off of the jab. Usually you have to fight utilizing the entire ring. One of the ways you utilize the entire ring is understanding what the ring is. The ring is a square. The ring have two 90-degree angles. So you have to be able to invade and exit using those 90-degree angles to keep your fighter in the center of the ring, or keep your fighter off, or keep your opponent off balance to make sure that he don't cut off the ring, but stay outside, but stay at a distance where you can hit him, and at a further enough distance where he can't hit you. And sooner you be in that distance, be in that range where he can hit you, be there long enough to counter him and get out the range again and get back on the bicycle. That's boxing, bro. That's called outside fighting. Now, you guys are changing the name of it and calling it running. It's not running. It's outside boxing. That's what it is. You're boxing outside of your opponent's range. An inside fighter has to get in range. The outside fighter must stay out of range. He only could be in range for a certain amount of time, counter, get his punches in, and get outside of range laterally, and move throughout and get his and score through angles. That's the aspects of the game. So when you already heard what you already heard what Showbiz is saying. He just said like, oh, well, we don't want them to win with this style no more. We don't want them to train to do this style anymore. But that's outside boxing. So Showbiz don't know what the hell he's talking about, y'all.
Point deduction. Of course, it wouldn't have been an automatic deduction. Understand what I'm saying here. It is very similar to the excessive clinching rule. Now, the clinching rule was put into place because of how boxing was. All right, if you look at the days of Jack Johnson and
okay, we're gonna end it here because because right now he's trying to use history to make this case, and that's going into a whole different aspect of the video. And I'm gonna have to really think about whether or not I want to go through history with this guy, because this is another bad example. You know, so you don't have to go through history to come up with a rule for boxing. You don't need history for that. I mean, because we already know all throughout boxing history, the way they created boxing was to go against the black fighter. They didn't even let black fighters fight white champions. Matter of fact, the white champions didn't want to fight the black fighters. They forced the black fighters to fight one another. And every time the black fighter had to fight the white man usually had either an advantage or the black fighter had to throw the fight. So we're not even going to go there and talk about what they did back in the 1920s and 30s and 40s and 50s. But that's, like I said, that's another video. We could save that for the next video. It will be a part 2 for this. And we're going to go from there. So in summary, Showbizz pretty much just don't know what he's talking about. It seems like he don't know what boxing is, or he just don't like boxing or something. He don't understand what he's looking at when he's looking at a fight. He don't understand what type of fight that he's looking at. It seems like Showbizz don't like he don't like chess matches. He don't like two fighters fighting with a high IQ. Because I think Showbizz is really a casual, honestly. I think he probably know about some of these older fights, but I think he only look at them on YouTube. He didn't actually look at them in the gym. He didn't actually talk to like a boxing coach or something like that. I think Showbizz he just basically he looked at this stuff on YouTube and he just basically started a YouTube channel, honestly. Because if you don't understand the sweet science of boxing, or if you do understand the sweet science of boxing, and then you look at a boxing match and you understand the two fighters that's in the ring, you're going to basically determine you're going to basically make an adjustment of what you're looking at. And the adjustment is, okay, this is a good outside fighter and this is a good inside fighter. This is not going to be a firefight. You know, this is not going to be two guys clashing against one another and looking at a big fight like he's trying to call it. Oh, I want to see a fight. You're going to look at a strategic chess match. And one of the things that's part of that strategic chess match is they're going to be fighting in angles to see who's going to have more control over the ring. So, and I just think Showbizz don't understand that for some reason. Now, Tony, he understand that. I don't know why Tony coming up with this rule. I think he just think this rule is a good idea or something. But Showbizz, he just really just copying off of Tony, and it seemed like he's just trying to make content. And he just happy that his fans say, I like that rule. I like that rule. I think it's a great rule. Even though he didn't even explain what the rule is. He haven't even came up with the rule yet. He just saying, oh, if this rule is in place, what rule? What rule? You ain't even tell us what the rule is yet. You ain't even tell us the criteria of the rule. You just said this rule is going to do this and it's going to do that. And if this rule was in place, it would do this and it would do that. This rule is so great. What is it? Oh, Tony didn't tell you what it was, did he? Because Tony don't even know what the fucking rule is yet, because he got to explain the rule to us Saturday. So yes, he pretty much don't know what the rule is because Tony don't know what it is yet. He got to explain it to us Saturday. All facts. And it's just hilarious how he, just stole this man's stuff and said it was his own and said he had to come up with it. And he just sat down all night and worked so hard and came up with this rule because he got to save boxing. Showbiz on his own got to come up with a rule to make fights more exciting. This is clown crap, bro. But this Reds Joe Boxing, and I'm out of here, y'all.